Hey, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Jim Reads Too Slow. I'm Jim. And I just wanted to jump on real quick and get you caught up on something that I mentioned in my last video, Jude the Obscure. I just finished that here a little while ago, and I wanted to just really quickly give my first impressions of it. This was a book, of course, that was the selection for Misery May, which I read through most of the month of May and then on into the first few days of June. And I wasn't having a problem with it until late in the book. The first maybe 3/4 of the book, I thought it's just the story of a guy who's smacked around by life. He's making do the best he can. It's not a lot of fun, but it's life. You know, you can expect not everybody is going to make it in life. And I can appreciate that. And then at a certain point, like I say, maybe 3/4 of the way through the book, Hardy says to me, the reader, "You got this? You okay with this so far? Not too bad, huh? Well, how about some of this? Some murder, some suicide, some betrayal." It gets really dark really quick. And in the end, the book really does live up to its reputation for misery. There is just no happiness in store for anyone in this book. There's no hope. There's just society's institutions, right? Class, religion, marriage, especially marriage. And each of these kind of have their way with you. And the best that you can ever hope for is to steal away a little bit of relief, a little time that you can enjoy until they come and snatch everything back from you. Yeah, I'm glad I read this book. I really am, because now I can say I've read Jude the Obscure, one of the most miserable books in literature. But I did not enjoy it. So, okay, this is the story of Jude, who is a working class guy who dreams of being a scholar, getting an education at the nearby university town. But he can't make it because he has to work to make a living. He doesn't have enough money. And the class system is just against him. The best he can hope for is to become self-educated. Now he does, which makes him a better person, especially internally, but it gets him nowhere in society. And then Jude gets roped into a marriage with a girl named Arabella, who he is not compatible with at all. She has no interest in education, no interest, particularly in books. So they end up splitting up. And Arabella moves to Australia with her parents, while Jude moves on to Christminster, which is the university town, think Oxford, where he starts working as a stonemason and continues to dream of actually going to the university. Now Arabella ends up later in the book moving back, and she's a real troublemaker. She's not a good person, but no more spoilers on that front. But Jude does, he finds love. He falls in love with a free-thinking girl, who his cousin, Sue. And they decide not to get married because they want to stay in love with each other. They want to stay friends. And in this story, it's clear, it's a given that marriage is where love and friendship go to die. But Sue is not so free-thinking that she doesn't freak out when Jude tells her that he has been married, even though his wife has moved to Australia and married someone else. And so in response, she marries someone else who she doesn't love, and her marriage falls apart. And that's when her and Jude get together. Up until this point, they've been kind of hanging out. They've just kind of been friends, but they move in together after Sue's marriage breaks up, and of course, they're obviously doomed. I have to say I really hated Sue by the end of this by the end of this story. She is conscientious and sweet and beautiful and just totally frustrating and a complete pain. I could not stand her. Okay, so Jude and Sue, they move in together. Jude finds out he has a son with Arabella, who she ships to him, and so they have a ready-made family. And then Jude and Sue have kids together. They do build a life together. And then things take a turn. As I said, things get dark, really dark. There are no happy endings in this book. This is the novel that Hardy wrote, and then he dropped the mic and said, "My job here is done," and never wrote another novel. Okay, there's probably more to it than that, but that's what it seemed like to me. This is the first Thomas Hardy novel I have read. And let me ask you, dear viewer, where should I have started? What Thomas Hardy novel should I read that will not leave me broken, as did Jude the Obscure? Please let me know. Okay, so that's my report on Jude the Obscure. Hopefully I won't have to read it again, but never say never. Okay. I also wanted to just kind of go through real quickly a little bit of a book haul. I've bought a few books over the last couple of weeks that I'm really happy to have. And I'll start with this little Library of America, a volume of Jack Kerouac's works. This is the Road novels, 1957 to 1960. It includes On the Road, The Dharma Bums, The Subterraneans, Tristeza, Lonesome Traveler, and there are some journal selections. I haven't started reading anything yet. I have read On the Road, not in this volume, but so I'm looking forward to digging in. I think the Dharma Bums is the one that I was really wanting to get into next, but we'll see. I paid I paid $10 for that, and that's a pretty normal price for these, in decent shape. So yeah. The next thing I got was my Richard Brautigan, Loading Mercury with a Pitchfork, a book of poems from, let's see, the latest copyright on here is 1976. So I'm slowly building back up my Brautigan collection. And then last year I read Miss Lonely Hearts by Nathaniel West. So I've been kind of keeping my eye open for his work, and I found in one of my favorite bookstores here in town the complete works of Nathaniel West. And I am happy to have this, The Day of the Locust, Miss Lonely Hearts, The Dream Life of Balso Snell, which is a strange one, and A Cool Million, with an introduction by Alan Ross. This is in very good shape. I paid $7.50 for this, and it is copyrighted. This is the fourth printing, 1960. So I'm happy to have this. And then at our library, my local library, I guess for sale rack, I found this, a Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold. Now, this is the special edition in honor of the 100th anniversary of the birth of Aldo Leopold. This is a book that was written in 1949, nature writing. It's a classic. Leopold was one of the foremost conservationists of our time. So I'll get into some nature writing. So that leads me to one of my favorite, one of the books I'm happiest to have found. Been down so long, it looks like up to me. And that is because I had this book, this exact edition of this book, back whenever it first came out. And somewhere along the way, I lost it. This Richard Fariña was a school friend, a university friend of Thomas Pynchon. Thomas Pynchon wrote the introduction to this edition, this Penguin edition. I read this book the first time I got it, and I've been looking forward to finding it and reading it again. But this book is not in print any longer, and it is really difficult to find, particularly in the wild. I walked into the bookstore, went to the F section, and it was on the shelf. I paid $4 for this, and I just about lost it. So anyway, I'm happy to have that. And that is my quick down and dirty book haul video, to sort of counterbalance the Jude the Obscure ordeal that I've just gone through. And I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe I'll do another video before July. Who knows? So until that time, have a good one, BookTube.